Hello everyone, this week we'll explore how to do this rainy painting using watercolors. This is my home studio where I share my passion for watercolor paintings. My name is Dinesh. Today we will learn how to paint a rainy scene in watercolor. In rainy paintings, the key element is capturing the reflections on the ground where the objects are anchored. Additionally, it is more important to convey the mood of the place rather than focusing on details. Before we dive in, be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our ever-growing creative community. Now, without further ado, let's get started, everyone. Let's analyze the reference. I want to give credit to the photographer who took this picture, and I found this picture on Pinterest. And it's a really nice composition of a person in the foreground, the streetcar, and the reflections of the lights on the ground. And doing a night rainy painting is quite hard because we have to layer it with a lot of paint, and that's why a lot of people doesn't do night painting. So if you want to learn how to do a regular rainy painting, you can see my video from last week how to do a rainy painting using watercolors. And as for the supply goes, I'm using Bowang watercolor paper and rough surface 300 GSM. And you can also use Saunders Waterford cold press or any other good watercolor paper for any painting. It's quite essential. Well, as for the paint goes, I'm using Winsor Newton professional grade watercolor paints, and you can also use any paints you want. So every painting I do in watercolors, I usually start with the sketching, and I also expedite this process so I can show you guys what exactly I'm doing while I'm doing this. When it comes to sketching, a lot of people ask how to improve it, and there's only one way to improve in sketching is keep doing it. But I'll also give a couple of techniques and tricks which helps you to place your objects and help to create a good composition as well. So the first thing is I block the streetcar, and you can also see that I'm sketching a really light because in watercolors, if you apply a wash, it might see through. So make sure that you have to keep it really light. And I don't know if you guys can see when you guys seeing this video, but it's really light. And if you want, you can just darken the video so that you guys can see where everything is placed and everything. As you can see from the streetcar, I'm constantly comparing everything from that streetcar to the things around it. But you can move things around, but it's fine because our focal point is the streetcar in the foreground, and the rest kind of like act as a lead-in for us. Let's throw down our first wash. The first wash is nothing but like the colors I'm seeing from a reference. I'm just like bringing the colors as I'm seeing. Like you can see that I also applied a little bit of blue, a little bit of red underneath it. On the top, I used a lot of blues on it. Again, this is the first wash, just staining the paper. So I'm going to start the value at the top, and I'm using French Ultramarine blue, a little bit of neutral tint. As it comes down, I'm using red and a little bit of burnt sienna because I'm going to make it warmer. So I'm going to be using a lot of wet on wet technique in the background because in the background, I want to make sure that it goes in distance. It creates this beautiful gradient from dark to light. And that enhances mood, and that also enhances a little bit of depth in our painting as well. So the light wash we did in the beginning, the cadmium yellow we applied at the bottom of the wash, and you can see that when I paint the buildings, and I'll use this as a light underneath it. So this is how watercolor works. So you have to layer it from the lightest wash, and you slowly build up your values. Even though this building might not be the exact value it's there, but we can increase it after as well. So that's why we have to start really light, and we have to keep on layering it. So I'm wetting the paper in the background, and I'm just applying the building. Again, in the background, I want to make sure that it kind of looks like a blurry building because it's a rainy day. It enhances the atmosphere, and it gets blurry as well. Now I'm focusing on the foreground element. So this is where the streetcar stop, where people stand for the streetcar. So now I'm doing the second wash for the streetcar as well. And you can see the streetcar is really red since it's a late night, and it's going to have no light at all. So there's going to be a lot of this dark blue spill on it. So you can see that Even if I squint my eyes, you can see that the streetcar looks a little bit darker. Being said that, the reference is edited really crazy, because in reality it might not be that dark, and it's in reality it's a little bit lighter. If you see most photos on internet, they are like heavily edited because they pull the contrast, say they pull with darks and lights, to create a really nice visual, photograph. But in reality, things are a little bit lighter. It's not that dark, and camera also captures really sharp, darker values than in reality. So now I'm adding the inside part. Again, I'm not trying to capture exactly what it is. I usually try to make it up stuff, making sure that it kind of looks like some kind of noise inside. But there's a little bit of gradient there. I want to capture that as well. And I also captured this garbage bin in the foreground. The reason I captured that, the bin which is in the foreground, is just to add the reflection on the ground. It's going to act as really nice. And there's also a figure next to it. I also added that as well. But once we add the foreground figure, and you will see that everything changes. So this is why it's a little bit harder in watercolors, because it's really hard to get the darker value. So you have to layer it and keep on layering it. If you paint on any other medium, it is really easy to start with a darker value, a lighter value, because it's an opaque medium like acrylic, oil, or gouache. You can just keep layering it. But in watercolors, unfortunately, you have to start with a light, and you have to slowly layer it, because you have to think about your value structure. And that's why a lot of people struggle with watercolors, because they usually overwork, or they don't know how to layer the medium really properly. So I'm just focusing on a couple of these details on the midground building, because I want to capture, making sure, because it's super bright and it's also big in the our painting, so I want to make sure that capture that. And there's also a little bit of gradient happens in the light itself, so I'm trying to capture the gradient at the top. So now I'm going to create this reflection. So I'm going to wet the paper first, and it's really easy to create reflection in watercolors. You have to wet the paper first, then apply the color on top of it. And as you can see, that's what I'm doing now, and I'm trying to reflect whatever is sitting on the ground. Like, what I mean by that is like the person who is standing, the garbage bins, and the streetcar, which is also like reflecting on the ground. So you have to think that the road as a reflection. It's kind of like a mirror which is reflecting everything from top to bottom. And again, now it looks darker. Since we wet the paper, it might go a little bit lighter. So I'm also spraying some water, so it kind of looks like, it's everything is running. It kind of creates like these really nice loose reflections. And the one thing that happens in watercolors is, even this looks a little bit darker. Since we wet the paper and we sprayed it, it's gonna go lighter. But you can leave it as it is. And I'm also taking some clean brush. I'm trying to put some lines here and there, and you can see that it gives us really nice streaks on the road, and it also makes the road looks wet as well. And you can see that wherever the bins are there, and you can see that now it's dry, and you can see that how lighter it got. But what I would, after I finished the painting, the next day I went and layered one more layer on the reflections, just to enhance the reflections a little bit better. And I'm also adding the figure now, and you can see that it also makes really nice. And she also has an umbrella, so I'm going to be adding it. And since the figure is in the foreground, so we can use this as an opportunity to make it darker, so that also creates depth as well. So things which is in darkened values come in front, and which things are not like lighter in values go in distance. And same thing goes for warm and cool colors too. So I'm trying to bring some of the lights on the road as well, using yellow and white paint. And it didn't work quite nice, but I just applied it just to see how it looks like, just to see how it's gonna work. And it worked quite well. And now I'm just adding the lights. And this is really important to add in a rainy painting, those lights which is hitting on the road, because this gives a really nice visual element for your painting, and it also makes everything pop in the road as well. Again, if we made this road a little bit darker by another layer, it will work really nice. And the lights in the car, which is also in the background, also reflecting in the foreground as well. And I'm also using red paint and white paint to get that. So for the white paints, I'm using, you can use Chinese white out of the tube. You can also use gouache as well. So now I'm using white paint to create the street lines, and a couple of this white lights on the building inside and the things inside as well. And I'm also adding some darker wires as well. This street wires also helps to create this directional lines, and it also helps to lead into the painting as well. This is how the painting looks like at the end, and you can see that the values are a little bit lighter compared to our reference, but it's fine because the reference looks a little bit darker. And in order to enhance the light on the road, so I went and did another layer on the ground, and as you could see in the intro how I layered it, so it kind of creates a little bit of impact on the painting by itself. So now it's your turn. Use the techniques and the essence I showed in this video and apply in one of your rainy painting and see what you can come up with. Thank you once again for watching this painting tutorial. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. If you have any other watercolor related topics you would like me to cover, reach out to me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe button to become a part of our learning community. By subscribing, you will receive weekly upload notifications and stay updated on our channel and share with your fellow artists, friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.